is accused of murdering 20-year-old Anna M. Olesowitz of Camden on August 27, 1982. Miss Olesowitz was shot in the head. Teresa Smith, Biegenwald's former girlfriend, who lived with him at the time of the murder, took the witness stand today. What follows are excerpts of her testimony.
And how often do you use drugs?
I don't use drugs.
You don't use them anymore at all?
No.
And the time that we were talking about, Mr. Fagan was asking questions in the 1982 time sequence. How often were you using drugs then?
Pretty often.
Well, how often is pretty often?
Pretty regularly.
Every day?
Yes.
And what drugs are you using every day?
I was using speed then.
Speed?
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the fact that you are familiar with these particular guns. I think you referred to that as a 22 short.
Yes.
You fired that gun, haven't you?
Yes.
Numerous occasions?
No.
You fired it in New Jersey, haven't you?
No.
You never fired it in New Jersey?
No.
You fired it in Staten Island?
Yes.
You never fired it ever in New Jersey?
No.
Now, the Fitzgerald's weapons that you said you were familiar with.
Yes.
I think you mentioned a machine gun, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You fired that too, didn't you?
Yes.
Where'd you fire that?
In New Jersey.
And that was Fitzgerald's weapon, right?
Yes.
But he let you fire it, right?
It was Rich's idea.
But Fitzgerald let you fire his weapon, is that correct?
Yes.
He was present, right?
Yes.
Now, you were pretty familiar with Fitzgerald, weren't you?
I didn't know him very well, no.
You didn't know him very well?
I didn't know him like a book, no.
Well, you say you didn't know him like a book. You were familiar with his apartment, weren't you?
Yes.
Familiar enough to tell the police that he had a secret hiding place there, right?
Yes.
And could you describe that secret hiding place?
It was just like a hole in the wall behind a mirror.
And what was the purpose of that hiding place, if you know?
That's where I used to grow pot.
What?
That's where I used to grow marijuana.
Grow marijuana. Was that also a place that he could hide in case he ever was in threat of being arrested?
Well, the only reason why I told him about that room is just because I knew there, but he never told me he hid there, no.
And you discussed Mr. Fitzgerald's background with him, hadn't you?
Only parts.
He had told you he was a mercenary, right?
No, he never did.
Never told you that?
Nope.
He showed you the Ingram, right? The machine gun?
Yes.
Did he tell you that that gun could kill a lot of cops? Wasn't that his expression?
Well, to tell you the truth, Rich is the one who said that.
You sure Richard said that?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sitting in your presence.
Yes, up in my apartment.
I like fun. Now, you said that sometime that evening when you got up and went to the kitchen, you looked outside and saw the valley, right?
Yes.
Your car.
Yes.
And you said before that everybody in the house had access to that car on some basis or another, right?
Yes.
Including Fitzgerald, right?
Yes.
And you looked in the car and you saw somebody there, but you couldn't determine the sex and whether it was a male or female, right?
Yes.
The person was alive, though, right?
I imagine.
Was moving, right? The person was in
He
the
was
car.
just sitting up.
Could have been Fitzgerald, right?
I really don't know.
You don't know. That's possible, right?
Well, when she says she don't know anything else follows, that it's possible.
And there came a time the next morning when you say that you came across this body in the garage, right?
The next evening after work.
Next evening. And you touched it?
Yes, I did.
And what was your reaction to touching that body?
How did I feel?
Yeah.
Sick.
Sick? Did you throw up or anything?
No.
Did you run away?
No.
You mentioned that there were rings on the body, right?
I didn't see anything.
You didn't see any rings?
I said I didn't see any other jewelry on the body.
But there was rings, right?
All I know is what Richard told me.
Isn't it the fact that you saw a ring on your body and said you wanted that ring for yourself?
No, that's not.
You never requested to have that ring?
No.
Supposedly, based on your statement before, Mr. Biegenwald gratuitously gave you this ring for no reason?
He gave me the ring.
For no reason?
Judge, I object. She wouldn't know the reason.
I'll sustain the objection on that basis. One doesn't know what motivates other people. I'll sustain the objection.
Do you have any reason to know what the motivation was for Mr. Biegenwald giving you that ring?
I don't know.
Isn't that a fact that the motivation was that you liked the ring when you saw it on the body?
I never saw the ring on the body.
This is a ring that you wore for a whole month? I'm sorry. This is a ring that you wore for a whole month, right?
I wore the ring.
Did you like the ring?
Yes.
So you wore it, right?
Yes.
Now you saw the girl lying there dead on the floor, and it made you sick, you said.
Yes.
But you still wore her ring for a whole month?
Yes.
Does that seem reasonable to you?
The jury will disregard that question. It's an improper question.
The Richard Biegenwald murder trial will continue tomorrow in the courtroom of Superior Court Judge Patrick J. McGann. For TV 34 News Brief, I'm Bob Hartman reporting. Good evening, I'm Bob Hartman for TV 34 News Brief. The Richard Biegenwald murder trial continued today in Freehold, New Jersey. Biegenwald is accused of murdering Anna Olesowitz of Camden, New Jersey, back in August of 1982. Yesterday, the jury heard testimony from Teresa Smith, Biegenwald's former live-in girlfriend. Smith's present fiancé, George Susko, took the stand after Ms. Smith. What follows will be excerpts from Mr. Susko's testimony. And then you'll hear today's testimony of Detective Kevin Quinn of Ocean Township, who searched Biegenwald and Darren Fitzgerald's apartments after their arrest in Asbury Park. And then you will hear the testimony from the state's star witness, Darren Fitzgerald, who helped Biegenwald dispose of the dead girl's body.
There come a time when she stayed over at your place in Bradley Beach.
Yes.
When was that?
Sometime in October
82?
82.
Teresa Smith ever discussed with you the body of a young female in the garage at 507 6th Avenue in Asbury Park?
Yes.
When was that?
That was also during October and November. I don't know exactly.
How did that come about?
Well, we were out, and at that point we had gone out maybe 2 or 3 times, and she just told me a few things that led up to her telling me about the body. It's just really like she just was letting everything out at one point.
You recall where you were?
Yes. At Pete and Elvis in Bradley Beach.
What is that?
It's a really a pizza place.
Tell me.
What do you say? I didn't say hardly anything. I mean, it's not like a normal conversation. I didn't eat anything.
Believe it?
It was very hard to believe. Not at first.
Did you have further discussions with her in connection with this?
Yes.
And when were those occur?
Almost constantly after that.
Let me ask you this. Did there come a time when you believed it?
Yes.
And give me a time frame to when we're talking about now.
It's difficult. I would say in the beginning of November.
You know, sure.
I'm not positive.
Okay. Don't tell anybody that.
No. Truthfully, I was afraid that until I knew for sure that there would be no problem, I mean, after hearing all this, or what I heard, obviously I was afraid of Mr. Biegenwald, or whether her or myself or my son. So it's a difficult situation. I've seen, you know, whether it's in movies or in newspapers, so many times when the police are told, and knowing me not believing it, I thought, well, if they don't believe it right away, we're in trouble. Or if they just questioned him, and that was it.
I'm going to show you what's been marked S10 for identification, which is, I believe what you said to be the 22 short by the bed of Mr. Fitzgerald. Is that correct? Correct. Any of that ammunition found in Fitzgerald's drawer, any of that ammunition fit that gun?
No, sir.
What area is this?
Okay, this is the basement bedroom area under of Mr. Biegenwald. Now we're looking at the vanity with the jewelry box on it. Various items that are on top of the vanity. And that's the drawer, the jewelry box.
And that was it.
I'm going to show you what's been marked S10 for identification, which is, I believe what you said to be the 22 short by the bed of Mr. Fitzgerald. Is that correct?
Correct.
Any of that ammunition found in Fitzgerald's drawer, any of that ammunition fit that gun?
No, sir.
What area is this?
Okay, this is the basement bedroom area under of Mr. Biegenwald. Now we're looking at the vanity with the jewelry box on it. Various items that are on top of the vanity. And that's the drawer, the jewelry box, and that's the ring of an onyx type that was recovered. Here's another photo of the ring laying out on a table for better clarity.
11 p.m.
These are just various other items that were contained within. That's a staircase that goes from the living room, Mr. Biegenwald's apartment, to the bedroom. There goes the bed. This is other tables and just a notebook with different notes in it. This is myself extracting a board from a crawl space, which...
Where are you?
In Mr. Biegenwald's bedroom. Pointing out to the camera and counting out holes in the board.
What type of hole?
They appear to me to come from 22. The holes are more apparent from the opposite side of the board. It's the same crawl space, and I think that's a 22 shell is laying in the dirt there, which we took. That's a picture of a snake in the aquarium, showing the showing the bed, and I believe it'll show you the weapons.
What's that?
That's one of the sawed-off shotguns, and here is the 22 Minx, and I think that's the Harrington and Richardson revolver.
Where are we now?
I believe we're still in the bedroom. Yes, we're still in Mr. Fitzgerald's bedroom. This is a drawer opened up, showing the weapon with the silencer on it, and boxes of ammunition and cleaning supplies. There's some cleaning fluid above it in the box.
Where are we now?
Now we're in Mr. Fitzgerald's kitchen, showing the other sawed-off shotgun, which is atop the cupboard with an explosive device next to it. That's that thing with a small paper tube hanging out of the top. Down here, there's an end cap similar to those used for the pipe bomb explosive devices.
Do you have any information in connection with the death of Anna Olesowitz, sir?
Yes.
What is that?
Well, I could probably best relate it in a where it happened, if you like.
I'd like that.
Well, the first became aware of the death of Anna Olesowitz not by name, but by actually seeing the body.
When did you see that body?
It was the It was, I think, a Sunday morning, weekend prior to Labor Day. And I had just returned from South Jersey.
Whereabouts in South Jersey?
Well, I entered the driveway and met Mr. Biegenwald, who was out. It was rather early in the morning, about 5:30, something like that. And at that time, he told me that he had a problem. The problem turned out to be the body of Miss Lesowitz was in the garage.
Did you view the body?
Yes, I did.
When did you view the body in comparison to time on Sunday? Are we talking about Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon?
About first thing, very early Sunday morning, I pulled into the driveway, as I say, about 5 or 5:30 a.m. And I found Mr. Biegenwald out and about on the grounds, standing in the driveway area when I pulled in.
What car were you using at this time?
I was using Miss Bertucci's car,
Which was?
Mustang.
Miss Bartucci still living with you at this time?
No, she's not.
When did Miss Bartucci move?
I think somewhere around September.
Well, we're talking about August, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you was Miss Bartucci living with you at this point in time?
Oh, yes, she was.
What did you observe when you went into the garage?
I observed the body of what appeared to be a female. Was lying down on the right side of the garage on a piece of rug. Woman, I would say, it appeared to be a young female, approximately 100, maybe 120 pounds, something like that. I couldn't really make it out because she was covered to almost the waist area with a plastic bag.
What did you do?
I entered into a discussion with Mr. Biegenwald, the whys and wherefores of this.
What did he tell you?
He told me that, well, he really didn't give me what I could consider a rational answer. He just told me that it was something that happened and involved Ms. Smith and himself, and it really wasn't an answer that you could expect in a situation like that.
What did you do?
Well, I was confronted with a body for what amount, as far as I was concerned, my garage. And Mr. Biegenwald asked me if I would help him dispose of the body. I take it away, and I said, yes, of course I would. At that point, we relocked the garage and locked up. And, I entered the house, woke up Miss Bertucci. She made me a breakfast, and I ate the breakfast and I went to bed.
Did there come a time when you assisted Mr. Biegenwald in disposing of that body?
Yes,
When was that?
that evening later.
Do you know where Mr. Biegenwald had been for that day?
I believe he went over to his mother's in Staten Island.
Do you know where that is in Staten Island?
Yeah, 420 Sharrott's Road.
What happened when Mr. Biegenwald came back?
Well, when he came back, I was aware of it coming in the driveway, the car, what have you. And I saw him and entered into a further discussion regarding the body in the garage. And he said he was going to look for a place to put it, which he did.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I remained on the premises.
Where was the body placed?
Where was it placed?
Yes.
It hadn't been moved. It was in the garage.
Well, did there come a time when the body was removed?
Oh, yes.
And when was that?
Darkness had fallen. It was dark, and Mr. Biegenwald had told me that he found a place to put it. So I assisted him in loading the body into the trunk of the car and drove up Sunset Avenue to Route 35, across the highway, and there's a turnoff on the left first. It was after the Burger King parking lot. And, oh yes.
Mr. Biegenwald ever use any of the tools down there?
Yes.
What did you do down there?
Well, aside from routine maintenance on the house, I was involved in the construction of weapons, maintenance of weapons, alteration of weapons, experimentation with ammunition types, that sort of thing.
Do you know what Mr. Biegenwald did with his weapons?
What he did with them?
Well, let me rephrase it.
He kept his...
I think we object at this point.
I said, let me rephrase it. You know where Mr. Biegenwald kept his weapons?
Yeah, in the cellar area of the house.
You know whereabouts?
Well, specifically behind a brick wall at the rear that blocked off what used to be a set of outside steps coming into the cellar.
Found in your area of the house were 3 pipe bombs. Is that correct?
Yes.
What were those for?
Firecrackers.
Well, what do you mean by firecrackers?
Literally, firecrackers.
What were you intending to do with these firecrackers?
Set them off at the right occasion.
Somewhat.
At some occasion, the right occasion.
In connection with your testimony here today, have you ever discussed this with Teresa Smith at all?
No, I haven't.
Anyone from the prosecutor's office? Anyone from any police department? Anyone from any law enforcement personnel at all ever tell you what to say?
No, I haven't.
Judge, I would have no further questions.
The cross-examination of Darren Fitzgerald by defense attorney Louis Diamond will continue tomorrow in Freehold. For TV 34 News Brief, I'm Bob Hartman reporting. Good evening, I'm Bob Hartman for TV 34 News Brief. The prosecution in the Richard Biegenwald murder trial rested its case this morning in Freehold, New Jersey. Defense attorney Louis Diamond then called Terry James, an inmate of Trenton State Prison and believed to be a schizophrenic, to the witness stand. James testified that Darren Fitzgerald, witness for the prosecution, talked to him about the murder of Anna Olesowitz.
The question was what Mr. Fitzgerald said to you about things he did outside the prison. Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
That's the question. Outside the prison.
All right. I would phrase the question. A couple of times he discussed certain activities that he did outside the prison of a criminal nature.
Is that the right answer?
Sure.
Well, I'm trying to do the best I can. What happened was, I came to work in the kitchen one day.
If you can avoid all the remarks leading up to it, we'd like to know what he said.
I understand.
Okay.
Okay, well, he showed me a clipping, which it was a clipping about the victim, Anna, and he had told me that this particular person he had killed.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. That. Slow down and relax.
All right. He showed me a clipping. This girl, Anna Bluthwick, I believe her name was, and he had told me that this was one of the girls that he had killed.
And did he tell you how he killed her?
He shot her.
And did he state whether or not he had a particular reason for doing that?
Yes, sir.
What was the reason?
He said he enjoys it.
Tomorrow, both the prosecution and the defense will make their final statements. Then the case is in the hands of the jury. Good evening, I'm Bob Hartman for TV 34 News Brief. Yesterday, both the prosecution and the defense made their final statements to the jury in the Richard Biegenwald murder trial in Freehold, New Jersey. Richard Biegenwald is accused of murdering Anna Olesowitz of Camden in August of 1982.
The most crucial thing here is that you're asking a man to be judged by you for the commission of the worst crime that he can be charged with, murder. You're asking a man to put his hands in your hands his very life. At this point, remember one thing. All we have, it all boils down to a very simple issue, which I told you in the beginning. You have two people who say he said something. You have other people with less motive to lie saying that Fitzgerald said the exact same thing. If you weigh them, it's certainly far outweighed. The evidence is consistent with the fact that Fitzgerald's statement is the true one. I tell you right now, if you have that, if you use your logic, what's consistent with the facts that you know, you must in effect come to the conclusion that you have a reasonable doubt in your mind as to what happened here, as to whether or not the burden of proof has been sustained by the prosecution through their own witnesses. If you weigh those things, sit there and discuss all the factors, you see the scale never budges beyond that one point, and it keeps on going further down on the other side, and that's reasonable doubt. And with that reasonable doubt, the only verdict that you can come to is not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hyman.
Thank you.
Mr. Fagan.
Thank you, Judge. You people have been around for a lot of years. You use what you've learned. You use your common sense and you use your logic. And ladies and gentlemen, if you examine this evidence, you examine the testimony, it supports every piece of evidence in this case. I'm just going to ask you now to use your logic, your common sense when you go back in there. And if you do that, the state, I think you have to agree, has proved this case beyond any reasonable doubt that Richard Biegenwald killed, murdered Anna Olesowitz, whether it was the 27th or the 28th of August 1982. He possessed a weapon on that date. He possessed this weapon. He possesses with the intent to use it unlawfully, to kill somebody. And he did. And he possessed weapons on January the 22nd, 1983, when he was arrested, and he possessed drugs on that time. I ask you to find him guilty of each and every charge. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fagan. We've all been sitting for quite a while. I think we benefit from a short break, so if you just want to retire to the jury room for a few minutes, we'll stretch and then come back, and at that point I'll explain the law to you so that...
The jury returned to the courthouse at 9 a.m. this morning after being sequestered for the night. At about 10:15 this morning, they returned a guilty charge on all 5 counts on Biegenwald.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you agreed upon your verdicts?
Yes, we have.
Are your verdicts unanimous?
Yes, they are.
As to the first count, charging murder of Anna Olesowitz, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
As to the fourth count, charging possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose on August 27, 28, 1982, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
On the fifth count, charging possession of a weapon without a permit on August 27, 28, 1982, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
On the ninth count, charging possession of a controlled dangerous substance on January 22nd, 1983, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
On the 10th count, charging possession of a weapon without a permit on January 22nd, 1983, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
The trial will continue tomorrow in Freehold, New Jersey, as they will decide whether Richard Biegenwald should face the death sentence or not. Earlier this morning in Marlborough Township, William Edmond, a dangerous mental patient who has been acquitted of murder by reason of insanity, was transferred back to Marlborough Psychiatric Hospital. And for the second time in 2 weeks, Brenda Schwartz and her citizens group were there to protest. You were here last Friday, and I thought you had some success, but I guess it turned out bad.
No, it didn't turn out bad. We were overruled by the judge who held his ruling that Mr. Edmond was to be brought here. What has happened since then is we've picked up a lot more public support. A lot of people that weren't aware of what was going on are now aware, and we're getting support from everywhere, including our legislature.
And who's going to be here from the legislature?
We're going to be meeting here today with Marie Mueller, John Bennett, State Assembly people, and Senator Gagliano, as well as Mayor Saul Hornick from Marlborough.
State Assemblyman John Bennett, Assemblywoman Marie Mueller, and State Senator Gagliano are doing all they can to help. John, you grew up in Marlborough Township, and how do you feel about this?
Well, the whole procedure that's being followed is on the courts and by the judges is one that we have to take issue with. I think that we're losing sight of the rights of so many people here, not only the community, but who's going to be responsible for protecting the patients against themselves and against each other in a minimum security facility when we're going to be transferring people that need a one-on-one maximum security. This hospital was never built nor designed to have that type of a patient put here. And I think that we have to not only protest the specific removal and placement of Mr. Inman here, but we have to protest the overall policy of possibly bringing additional ones here.